You must be 23, 24. If you start PhD now, when will you finish? When will you get married? When will you have kids? When will you start a family? Are boys ever asked this question? No. This pressure is only for us girls. If you are also feeling this pressure, facing these same questions, then you are not alone. We women face this dilemma at some point in our careers and more in academic careers. A few years ago, I was also asked these questions. So, stay till the end of this video and I will share my experiences, how I face these societal lenses. Girls, hi, I'm Dr. Radhika Kamdar and I'm starting a new series specifically for Indian women in academia here on RAD's Research Room. We will talk about how you can pursue a career in academia or research, how you can balance your personal and professional life, how you can cope with the daily stress and avoid PhD burnout. We will address all the challenges one by one and create a safe space and community where we can support each other. So let's begin with the root cause of all the issues, gender bias. So, what exactly is gender bias in academia? To understand this, we need to rewind and peek a little bit into history. The time was 1800s when the girls were married off at an early age in early childhood. During such times, our very own Anandibai Joshi was the first Indian woman who got her degree in medicine from the University of Pennsylvania, an American degree. Another example is Savitribai Phule, who was illiterate at the time of her marriage but later established the first girls' school in India. Another very inspiring example is Bibha Chaudhary, the first scientist or the physics scientist in TIFR, also my alma mater. She was first rejected by IISc and later Dr. C.V. Raman admitted her, although with some conditions. She completed her training in the Bose Institute and IISc and then joined TIFR. And because of her work, pioneering work in particle physics, later C.F. Powell won the Nobel Prize. Another most famous example is Rosalind Franklin, who worked on the DNA structure, but Watson and Crick were awarded the Nobel Prize for that work. She got her credit only posthumous. Marie Curie, she started her work on polonium and uranium, but later her husband joined the project, Pierre Curie, and she shared a Nobel Prize with him. However, she became the first female lecturer at Sorbonne University in France, but only after her husband's death. So, we all know that no matter how much we talk about equality and modernization, we still live in a very male dominated or a patriarchal society. Opportunities are opening up, but there are still many systemic issues. Even today, women do not share a 50% workforce. We are underrepresented, especially in STEM fields. STEM fields meaning science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Even in the top institutes in India, as well as around the world internationally, women are heavily underrepresented. Let me show you some statistics. We find that plenty of women in the early stages of career are there around in STEM fields as trainees, project assistants, students, but later on, as the career grows, this percentage decreases significantly. There are fewer and fewer senior women at conferences, leadership positions in science, corporate, education, entrepreneurships, CEO positions, etc. So the overall representation is undoubtedly very low. So, what's the reason for this? Yes, hiring disparity is the first one. In the interview, most personal questions are asked rather than research skills or technical expertise. When I was giving my PhD interview, the first question they asked me was, "You're 26 years old. What are your marriage plans?" There were nine students in my batch, and I was the only girl, and hence I was asked this question. None of the boys were asked this question. When I was giving my postdoctoral interview, I was married by then. So the first question changed to, "What are your plans of starting a family?" The postdoctoral position is for 2 years. So if you take a maternity leave, when will you work and how will you focus on the project? Does anyone ask men these questions? I was also advised by my mentor that do not plan to start a family during your postdoc. The working hours will not be conducive to that. So I want to tell all of these interviewers that brilliance does not depend on age, gender, or life choices. And that's exactly what I answered. Irrespective of my life choices, I am committed to my research goals. That's what I told them. So here I would also like to bring to your notice that no interviewer can ask you personal questions that are technically irrelevant to the job position or the research project you're applying for. And these can be reported. Another factor you may find still surprising even today is the pay gap. Women usually work twice and more often but are paid less for the same jobs. I was titled senior postdoc during my second fellowship, but there was a 10% pay gap compared to my male counterparts, and at least 20% if I compared my pay scale across institutes. Because sometimes it is presumed that hiring women in their reproductive prime is bestowing a favor on them and that they should be eternally grateful. Now, some of these are superficial issues, but if we analyze them deeply, you will find that there are many cultural reasons as well. Foremost being societal expectations. Women are constantly expected to prioritize family. And because of this, there is a continuous tug of war between work and family in a woman's mind. Result: low self esteem, reduced confidence, and hindered productivity. And we all know that research is not a 9 to 5 job. Sometimes late night experiments, overnight work, paper submission deadlines, thesis submission needs us to prioritize our work. And yes, work life balance is extremely important, but research sometimes requires sacrifice of your personal life. And when you prioritize work, there is guilt about neglecting family, kids, parents, in laws, even friends. And hence, we find fewer and fewer women in mentorship and leadership positions. And because this guilt is weighing heavily on us, the pressure is only on us ladies, when men do not feel this pressure. Women constantly are expected to prioritize family and motherhood over their careers. Apart from these reasons, there are also some other factors such as toxic work culture, uninclusive lab environment, discrimination due to ethnicity, and even sexual harassment. So, staying late in the lab, working late nights, traveling alone to collect samples, handling heavy equipment or expensive equipment is looked upon with much skepticism even today. So, what's the solution to these problems? First of all, we need more women in leadership roles who can address pay disparity, especially in laboratory and STEM industrial positions. Another is structured mentorship programs wherein women in high positions uplift girls and women in the early stages of careers. Third is to break the stereotype that women are soft and cannot handle pressure or tight deadlines or even rocket science. We have one solid example, Dr. Ritu Karadal, one of the operations director in ISRO's Mangalyaan mission, and everybody knows her. Fourth, report any form of harassment, whether lab work culture, toxic environment. Do not accept any form of discrimination or harassment. I myself have reported toxicity and pay disparity. And the outcome was that I got a full contract as was committed to me prior to giving me the job. The PI's lab location was moved and they were banned to take students for a while. So keep in mind that unless there is awareness and inclusivity and equality, nothing will change. We have to take one step at a time. So go ahead and check out my previous videos on how to find mentors and navigate PhD life. Also in the comment box, share what difficulties you have faced or are still facing in the lab. Share your thoughts, your opinions about PhD and lab life in general, and tell me which are the topics you want videos on. You can find me on manuscriptease.com for any academic guidance, any advice, or just drop in for a casual chat. A lot of my friends still who are doing PhD in their advanced years do talk to me and learn from my experience, and I would love to help you as well. So till then, take care. Stay curious and always strive for knowledge. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe to Rad's Research Room. It might help someone who is finding hard to navigate the life, and this would be beneficial for them. And see you in the next video.